So often, it feels like we're just characters in a story that someone else is writing. Life just kind of happens to us, right? But what if you could actually grab the pen? What if you could become the author of your own life? Today, we're not just talking about writing a memoir. We're talking about something way bigger, seizing control of your personal narrative. It's this incredible act of creation and, honestly, self-discovery.
The great poet Pablo Neruda really hit on something here. He reminds us that our story isn't just one single, simple thread. No, it's this rich, complicated tapestry. And it's woven from all the lives we've touched and all the experiences that have shaped us. And writing it all down, that's how we finally start to see the whole magnificent pattern.
And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? What's your story? Because every single one of us has a narrative that's just packed with triumphs, with heartbreaks, lessons learned, the whole shebang. But, knowing you have a story and knowing how to tell it, well, those are two very different things. Think of this explainer as your map to becoming its author. So, here's the path we're going to take together. It's kind of like a 5-stage author's journey. We'll start with the call, figuring out why we're writing. Then we'll gather our tools by unearthing memories. After that, we'll choose our path for structuring it all, learn the actual craft of storytelling, and finally, we'll look at the legacy we're creating. Sound good? Let's dive in. First up, the call. Before you even think about writing a single word, it's so important to get clear on your motivation. Why this story? And why right now?
Your why is basically your North Star for this whole process. Maybe for you, it's about healing, right? It's about untangling all those knots from your past so you can finally make sense of your present. Or maybe it's about sharing some hard-won wisdom, kind of like a gift to other people who might be walking a similar path. Whatever your reason is, hold on to it tight. It's the fuel that's going to power you through this entire journey.
Now, let's be real for a second. This isn't always going to be a walk in the park. Digging into the past, it can be really challenging. But here's the secret. When you write it down, you're not just reliving it, you're actually reframing it. You're organizing the chaos, you're finding the meaning, and you're achieving something called narrative sovereignty. And that is the ultimate act of taking back control of your own story. All right, let's get into part 2, gathering your tools. See, every great story is built from raw material. For us, that material is memory. The only problem is, memories can be slippery, right? So how in the world do we start to unearth the ones that are buried really deep?
Well, the key is something we call a memory trigger. And it can be, pretty much anything that unlocks the past. Think of these things as launch pads for your story. You'll be absolutely amazed at what they can bring bubbling up to the surface.
Just take a look at this. It's a simple photograph, right? But think about what's really locked inside it. You might not consciously remember the scratchy feeling of that old armchair, or the specific way the light hit the dust motes floating in the air, but one single image can bring it all flooding back. The sounds, the smells, the entire feeling of a moment you thought was gone forever.
Or what about a song? You know that feeling when you hear that one tune from a high school dance? It instantly transports you back, not just to the event itself, but to the feeling of that time. The whole mood of an entire era can be held inside just a few musical notes.
And then there are the physical things, that shoebox of old letters, movie ticket stubs, travel pamphlets. This isn't just clutter. These are tangible, physical pieces of your past. Each one is a potential chapter, helping you reassemble the whole puzzle.
And don't just look inward. Look backward, too. Researching your family's history, their traditions, it connects your personal story to a much, much larger one. It adds this incredible depth and context, and it shows that you're part of a longer, ongoing narrative. Okay, let's move on to part 3. So you've done the digging, you've excavated all these memories, now you've got this pile of raw material. The big question is, how do you build a structure out of it? This is where you make a really fundamental choice about the shape of your story. You've basically got 2 main paths you can take. There's the chronological story, like Nelson Mandela's epic autobiography, which takes you from point A to point B. Or you could go with a thematic approach, like Joan Didion did, where you focus on a specific time period or a theme, like grief. And listen, there's no wrong answer here. It's all about what best serves the story you want to tell.
A timeline is honestly your best friend at this stage. It's such a practical tool. You start with a catalyst, some moment of big change. Then you plot out the key people and events. And as you lay it all out visually, you'll start to see it. The patterns and themes of your life will begin to emerge. This is the moment where you really see the architecture of your own story. Okay, part 4 is where the real artistry comes in, breathing life into the story. You've got the facts, you've got the structure. Now, how do you make someone feel like they were actually there with you?
So the most crucial thing is this. You have to engage the 5 senses. Don't just tell me you were in your grandmother's kitchen. No, describe the smell of the onions hitting the pan, the sizzle of the oil, the warmth of the room on your skin. These sensory details are the most powerful tool you have to pull a reader into an experience and make it feel real.
And this quote just illustrates the point perfectly. Using smell and sound. I mean, it creates a scene so vivid you can practically taste it yourself. And that's the goal. Sensory details transform your memory from just a fact into a shared experience for the reader. They don't just understand what happened, they feel it. And finally, in this section, you have to create you on the page. This is your narrative voice, the persona that's going to guide the reader through everything. Are you the wry observer looking back? The wounded survivor? The wide-eyed adventurer? Your voice is the consistent presence that holds the whole story together and makes it uniquely, completely yours. We have arrived at our final stage, the return. After this whole journey of writing, of remembering and shaping, what have you actually created? What does its final form and purpose look like?
You know, your story doesn't have to end up on a bestseller list to be a success. It could be a private journal just for you, or a beautiful scrapbook for your kids, or a series of personal essays. But just look at that last point on the slide, a deeper understanding of yourself. That is such a powerful outcome. In so many ways, the real destination of this whole journey is the person you become through the act of writing it.
And just think about what a gift this is. Your story becomes a treasured family archive. It provides explanations, context, a sense of connection for the people who come after you. You are literally preserving a part of their history, your history, that would otherwise just be lost to time.
So we end right back where we started. By writing your story, you move from being a passive character to an active creator. You don't just recount your life, you make meaning from it. Your life is a story. The only question left is, are you ready to pick up the pen and be its author?